Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast. Today we have a very special episode for you all. We are finally having our first Naruto What If battle in the Naruto What If battle series that we've been teasing on Cedric's podcast when we last spoke about Naruto. We're finally here and we have a whole panel of Naruto experts on with us to go over this first What If battle. First, since he was talking about Naruto from the beginning, we have Cedric Ware with us. How you doing today, sir? We have the producer, Justin Ackendale. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I can't wait to talk some Naruto. I know something everyone's about. We have the captain, the leader, Byron Mitchell. How you doing today, sir?
What's good? I'm doing good today. I'm very excited to talk about some Naruto.
And then today, actually making his debut on the L7C podcast, which is a great way to debut, and one of our top fans, we have Mr. Nikolai. Nikki, I'm not even going to try and say your last name because I've messed it up before, so I'm going to let you say it. But welcome, brother.
Thank you. Hello. I'm glad you guys have me on. I'm very excited to talk about this episode. And my name is Niki Dejanov.
Hey, and Sir Nikki, we always joke, we always emphasize the Nikolai because my man has been a top fan of the L7C podcast. I know he listens to a lot of them at work when he has a chance to, and he loves Naruto just as much as we do. So we invited him on, and he's here with us. So let's talk. The first What If battle we are doing is Neji, Hyūga, versus Gaara of the Sand, both in the part one. And this fight happened in part one. So we talked earlier. This is after Naruto and Sasuke fight at the Valley of the End, after all the filler. When Naruto leaves to go Jiraiya, I think that's the end of part one. So we're doing the fight there. Byron, first off, do you want to talk about the rules of engagement with this fight?
Yes, I will love to talk about the rules of engagement. All right, so the location is a grassy waves prairie. The time limit is 60 minutes. There are no bystanders, just the combatants. Do the characters have knowledge of each other? If the characters have seen each other fight in the canon series or know of their abilities, then yes. Do they have access to ninja tools? Only the ones they have used in the series. Do they have to kill their opponent? No. They just have to be the last standing at the end of the time limit. If they want to kill, they can.
Thank you, El Capitan. For those who don't know Neji, we're just going to go just a quick thing because Cedric talked about him on his Naruto episode, the last episode he had. So if you want more in depth, check that out. But Neji is a part of Team 10 with Rock Lee and Tenten, their senseis, Guy Sensei, and Neji is a genius. He was hailed at a point in time as the strongest out of that younger group. His group did get held back a year before participating in the Chunin exams. He's a very skilled warrior, even as a genin, and he has a Tekka Genkai, the Byakugan, and the man has hands. Just to give you a brief synopsis on him, and he'll be going against Gaara of the Sand, who, before he changed at the end of part one, was actually a very scary character. He has sand manipulation. Before him and Naruto's fight, he had a whole bunch of bloodlust, so he was not afraid to kill. And he is also a Jinchuriki of the one-tailed beast. And he is more of a defensive fighter and uses his stand for defense. Those are just a quick little rundown of the both of them. So we got the settings. We know a little bit about it. We've all watched the series. I'm going to throw it first to Mr. Justin. Justin, these two meet up at the end of part one in the settings that we've had. Who's winning this?
If I had to put my nose to fire and made me pick, I think I'm going to end up picking Gaara in this one, but I think Neji's going to control the fight a lot because Gaara kind of he has problem with speedier opponents, Rock Lee and Sasuke in particular in part 1. If you can get some good look, if you're fast enough, you can get good hits on them. You can break through the sand defense. But I think that's going to end up coming down to Gaara having the One Tails Beast, and I think it'll be too much for Neji to overcome in this what if battle.
Byron, are you feeling the same thing Justin's saying, or do you have a different opinion?
Actually, I picked Gaara as well because of his sand defense. And Gaara is more of a long range fighter, and Neji's more of a close range fighter. So you would have to get through his defense to even land a hit on him. And I don't think Neji is fast enough to get through that defense.
Okay. Cedric, what are your initial thoughts on this fight? And then we'll ask Nikki, and then I'll ask questions.
I think they're both right. What it comes down to is Neji's ability to get through the sand. I mean, Gaara is hailed throughout part 1 as the ultimate defense. Sand manipulation, even when he is unconscious, the sand protects him. I think that's note to him being a Jinchuriki. I do think both of them being more defensive heavy because even though it's sand manipulation, Neji does have the gentle fist tech, where Gaara has to land blows too. So it'll make it kind of hard, I think, for both of them because, like you said, Gaara is not really mobile. He typically stays in one spot, lets the sand move to his opponent, and essentially waits for an opportunity to catch him in the sand. I think with Neji, rotation will be one of the biggest things that he will have to use to survive that fight. Also, the ability to explode with Gentle Fist through any chakra point he has, as you see in the fight with Kidimaru. I think ultimately, though, if 60 minutes were up, and like Justin, you put my nose to the fire, I would say Gaara does have the advantage. I think the chakra supply thing with him being a Jinchuriki is what's going to really sell the boat and be the one thing that Neji won't be able to overcome.
Nikki, how about you, sir? What are your initial thoughts on this one before I ask some questions to everybody?
My initial thoughts are kind of like what everyone else was saying. As much as it pains me, because Neji was my personal favorite in Naruto, Gaara was a close second, so I was like, oh, I think Gaara's going to win in the end, but I think it's a pretty good fight. I think Neji puts up a good fight, because I think he's better than Lee. And then I think of how Cedric brought up the Kidimaru fight. Like, I think Gaara is a better version of that, so it'd be interesting. But in the end, I think Gaara is going to win. The stamina is a big boost with the Jinchuriki.
Yeah, I definitely like what you just said. So this is just go back to Justin because he was the first person to speak on this one. So I'm looking on Neji's stuff right now and Cedric brought up the Gentle Fist. And Neji, his hands are fast, and he has good reflexes, coordination, agility, all of those things that you said is a weakness for someone like Gaara because he does not do well against fast people or being blitzed. I know it wasn't to the extent that Naruto didn't make the same amount of clothes when he fought against Gaara than he did to Neji, but when Naruto laced up a whole bunch of clones against Neji whooped them all up, even though Naruto made a couple more against Gaara. But if Gaara gets blitzed, he does get flustered, isn't that right?
Yeah, he does. That's why Cedric brought up the Kidimaru fight. When Kidimaru was sending all those spider webs at him, he was just, knocking them down. That's why I said I think Neji will control most of the fight. He's going to get his licks in. He's going to rough Gaara up a little bit. It's just at the end of the game, you got 60 minutes long. I think Shikaku's going to have something to say about that. That Jinchuriki is just going to be what outlasts Gaara in the sand. I mean, outlasts Neji with the Gentle Fist, because he can definitely get it. Speed's definitely going to hurt Gaara, but he's just too powerful at the end. It took Naruto's main character bullshit to essentially stop Gaara. So that's who we're up against. This is the level of fire that we're having to deal with. So Neji's going to put up a good fight. He's going to come very close, but I don't think he's going to win at the end.
Byron, I'm going to throw this one to you then, because you said that, Justin, that it took Naruto's main character, BS, to beat him. That also is what took Neji to experience his first loss, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And Neji was working the man, and he sealed up all of his chakra. And I guess they didn't know that Naruto can access the Nine Tails chakra to that point because he had that month with Jiraiya where he learned the summoning jutsu, and Jiraiya changed the seal on Naruto because Orochimaru messed it up in the Forest of Death. So Neji would know now because I would think he would know that Gaara is a Jinchuriki like Naruto. And I don't know the extent of Gentle Fist. Because Gentle Fist, we know it can block off normal chakra. It can also block off your access to Jinchuriki chakra. That's what I've been struggling with this. If it could do that, and Neji gets a couple hits, then he could win.
I did not factor that in because by the end of part one, no one did that. He's never hit anyone to the extent to where it knocked off the Jinchuriki chakra. So that's why I didn't factor that in. But when you put it that way, he could end up winning the damn thing. But since it wasn't shown in part one at all, I didn't factor it in. So I didn't include that into the equation.
Byron, what do you think?
I mean, that's a very good point. I think if he could seal the Jinchuriki chakra, I think it would be a more even playing field because Gaara wouldn't have that chance to go into tail beast mode. So if he could seal that chakra off, then it's just a straight 60-minute who can land as many hits as possible.
No, Cedric, man, you know Neji better than all of us here, and maybe what Niki does too, because Niki just said he's his favorite character. And you know about the Hyūga clan. Do you think the Gentle Fist has that type of power? I mean, we've seen it seal off Naruto, who has huge reserves just by himself without the Nine Tails. Do you think it's possible that it could seal off Jinchuriki access?
I don't think it can. I mean, personally, I don't think Neji at the end of part one would know that Gaara is a Jinchuriki, right? Like they don't really unveil all 9 or that there is even 9 to someone of gaining level until you see essentially part 2 Shippuden start. Because the whole hunt for Naruto, like, like the upper levels, like the Hokage, I would say even some of the Jonins and Anbu know about the Akatsuki's mission. They know that they're collecting Jinchuriki, but I don't think that information slides down as far as to the Genin to know, like, oh, these are the Jinchuriki, like these are the 9. They know, like, maybe Naruto, something special about him. So I don't know if he would know necessarily where. I think Naruto's seal, and from, again, this is getting out of the depth of season 1, and the way the one-tail Jinchuriki works, I think, is a little different as far as Shikaku. Until the previous one-tail Jinchuriki, Shikaku essentially was like, if you fall asleep, I'm taking control of your body, I'm going on a rampage.
Yeah.
Until you get to Gaara, I don't think you can seal the chakra of the tailed beast because it's separated from the seal. Okay. And while the Byakugan can see all the chakra nature and all the chakra points, I don't necessarily think that Neji himself, maybe the head of the Hyūga clan, maybe we never really see it, but I feel like it takes a skilled ninja to not just tamper with the seal, but affect the seal in a way to block the chakra. Because I think if you block the chakra and he messes up, he could end up damaging the seal. Which, at the end of part 1, tail beast mode isn't so much of a concern because Gaara doesn't go into it. But I mean, this is not really like seasoned Shikaku Gaara relationship. This is like Shikaku's still like, I don't like being trapped in this body. I think it would be a dangerous move for Neji to do if he could. I don't think he could at this point in season 1. If there was a way, I think whoever messes with that seal, if you make a slight mistake, you will die. Because Shikaku will take over the body, and I don't think there's anything in the Gentle Fist repertoire that can stop a tail piece.
Nikki, what do you think about that situation that brought it that like if he could get some hits and he seals Gaara's chakra, we don't, like Cedric said, we don't know if Neji does know if Gaara's a tail beast because it hasn't been implied. But what do you think about that notion that if he gets some hits in, I mean, and seals them up? Because Cedric also just brought up Gaara and Shikaku didn't have a good relationship, and the only time we saw Shikaku come up is when Gaara tried to do that ball against Sasuke, and Sasuke hit him with the Chidori, stopped him mid-transformation. Then obviously he goes into it against Naruto, but that's not a real transformation because he lost to a toad and a headbutt. So what do you think about that, Nikki?
So I think that's interesting because he could seal off all of Gaara's chakra points, and then is Gaara going to go to sleep necessarily? Because he doesn't like going to sleep. He's got that thing. Like he never goes to sleep, and when he does, that's when he would rampage. So it's like, plus when Sasuke hit Gaara, Gaara was shook. That was the first time he was shook. Because if you remember, they had to have his siblings flee the village with him before Sasuke caught up and, all that happened. So it's definitely interesting. I don't think he could do anything to Shikaku himself or that chakra, honestly. I don't think he's that skilled enough at the end of part 1. He's definitely skilled, but not at that level,
Hey, Justin, on this one too, me and you, we joke about this all the time, but we're super serious. In Naruto, if you have eyes, you have a chance. Isn't that one of our sayings?
If you have an eye that is a KK Genkai, you can pretty much beat anyone. It's facts. That's how they made the show.
And Neji got a good pair of eyes with that Byakugan. He could see through walls. He could do a lot of things with that. How big of a factor could that play?
It's definitely a big factor. Like, the thing is, so like, I think if the fight was actually happening, I think Gaara's going to try to go for Neji's blind spot in the Byakugan. It's the back of his neck. There's a blind spot. But in the fight against Kidomaru, Neji knows that, and he's sending chakra back there. Sending chakra back there so he can't get it. So that's back to my main point. That's what I'm thinking. I think Neji's going to control the fight. He's going to get hits in because he's fast. And these fast guys give Gaara problems. They're going to give him problems. And then it's going to come down to that tail beast going wild. Because he does have some control of it because against the fight against Naruto, he goes to that sleeping jutsu and lets it go wild. So he does have a little control of it. And I think that he does that. That's going to be over for Neji. That's where Gaara's key X factor comes in. Shikaku is Gaara's X factor, and that's what's going to win him. All else even, I'm going with Neji, but the Shikaku factor is what is putting Gaara over the edge.
So in this fight, because it's at the end of part 1, and we almost saw Neji kill Hinata during the tuning, and I think he's way past that killing phase. So is Gaara. So if Neji's just, if he somehow just, because I think if Neji gets 1 hit, it's going to turn into 8, and we know how that multiplies. So would Shikaku even be like, he's not going to die. I'm not going to waste my time. Would he even step in? Or like, what do you think on that? Because Cedric said it point blank, they don't have a good relationship in part 1 at all.
I think Gaara's going to do the jutsu. He's going to do the jutsu where he goes to sleep. Then Shikaku's going to come out and give Neji the business. I mean, they don't have a good relationship, but I think when Neji does get those hits in, Gaara's going to be pretty desperate. He's going to do what he has to do to win the fight.
Cedric, I'm asking you this one. That jutsu that Gaara goes to sleep, is that his personal chakra that has to do it, or is that Shikaku's personal chakra?
Well, it's kind of impossible. Like, he puts himself to sleep. I believe it is his because he's the one who makes the hand signs for it. Like, I think Shikaku, it's like a partial tail beast mode.
Yeah.
He's awake, but he's not in complete control. Like, I think the jutsu itself is to let Shikaku rampage. Like, the goal of that mission was to let Shikaku rampage and destroy the hidden leaf. And then they were going to wake Gaara up. And then us rein in Shikaku again. Like, I think Gaara could go partial tail beast mode at the end of part 1. because you see him like consciously like trying to do stuff on top of Shikaku's head. You notice like when he goes full sleep, the eye colors change.
Yeah,
I believe it goes from like a bluish to like a yellow in Shikaku's, and that's when the voice changes. Everything like Shikaku starts talking. If you watch the dub version, they give him a nice little accent. So that's how you know Shikaku's here. So I think that like that jutsu itself is Gaara's. Like he's the one who formulates the hand signs, but I would imagine it takes a lot of time to prepare. And I think you have to be on the brink of losing control. I don't think Gaara can just do that from the go. Like there's a reason why, like Nikki said, his siblings took him from the arena. The mission was for him to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village. That was not the location they were supposed to attack, because that's where all the Jonin, all the Anbu, the Hokage, and everyone was watching the fight. Orochimaru's plan was to kill the Hokage. If there's a tail beast rampaging, that messes up that mission and his strategy so much. So they had to move him to a different location before he lost complete control.
And Nikki was also the one, too, who said when Gaara was doing that and the siblings had to take him, he resorted to that because, like Nikki said, Sasuke was having him shook a little bit. Is that what you said, Nikki?
Yeah, they said that was when Sasuke hit him with the Chidori. That was the first time he had been hurt. So that was the first time he had seen blood. So he was shook. That's why he didn't transform where he was supposed to. Because Baki ordered Tamari and Kankuro to take him back to the village. And then Sasuke, that's when he caught up and they started fighting. But I also know about the Shikako thing when his arm goes into it. It's his chakra because he uses his stand. He doesn't like bring it out as Shukaku's arm. He uses his stand to get that way. But then, yeah, he does fall asleep, and that's when the eye changes, and like Cedric said, Shukaku comes out.
So then I'm going to throw this one to Byron, because obviously we said how if you have eyes, you have a chance. Justin, we need to add on to that too. Also, if you're a genius, you have a chance too, right?
Yeah, if you're smart in that show, you can think your way through anything.
And Byron, Neji has seen Gaara fight at least once canonically. He has seen him fight. He saw him fight against Lee. How much of a factor does that play? Because he doesn't know about the transformations, because when he lost to Naruto, he was in the hospital. But he knows to the extent before that. How much does that play in Neji's preparation then? Because he knows what.
I think it plays a lot. Like if you have time to prepare to come up with a strategy to get around that sand with his intellect, I think it helps a lot. Like if he, like I said before, if you can get through that sand and get hits on him, I think it could be Neji. But that sand defense is just so good.
Cedric, what was the move that Neji used in the end to beat Kidomaru?
You mean the finishing blow? Like 128 palms.
Was that an 8 trigrams palm?
Yeah, 128 palms.
How strong, I guess, is an 8 trigrams, 128 palms? Does that have the same destructive capabilities as a tuning level Sasuke Chidori? Because Chidori pierced that thing.
So again, I would say the difference in the attack is it's more internal damage. I mean, that's what the Gentle Fist focuses on. You're not going to see Gaara bleeding at the end of 128 palms because you didn't see Kidomaru bleeding at the end of 128 palms.
Yeah.
It's him hitting your 64 chakra points twice. So he is, I mean, like they said when he was fighting Hinata, a lot of your major chakra points in your body surround major organs. So imagine one blow to those could be enough to hurt someone.
That's true.
2 blows to that is probably lethal. I think some of us are forgetting the sand shield. Like we saw that with Lee. Gaara cases himself in a layer of armor of sand. That was, I mean, Kidomaru did something with the web spit that he had, and that's what protected him against 64 palms from Neji. If he could protect it with a hard enough layer of sand, I think Gaara could survive at 64 palms. But What didn't work against Kidimaru is he was not expecting Neji to still be alive.
Yeah.
Shot the arrow. So he did not layer up any protection. He caught 128 to just the body.
Yeah, but the reason but if you think about it, Neji also sent chakra, because he let that attack hit him, and then he sent chakra up the web back to Kidimaru and stunned and like stopped him essentially.
Yeah.
So that's why he took the 128 with no shield. So my thing is, could he do that with Gaara's stand if he could send him back?
I thought about that.
If anything,
I don't think he can because the sand's not connected to Gaara's body. Gaara's just manipulating it. It's not like that web was coming from Kiyomaru's mouth.
Hold on, Justin. At that point though, so Nikki, you brought up Gaara's sand arm that was Gaara's chakra, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if Neji takes a hit from that and does the same thing to the arm because the armor tracks back to Gaara?
I don't think he would have to do that. I just don't.
I'm just going off Justin's thing because we've been talking about Neji going at Gaara. Got to come fight Neji too now.
Mm-hmm.
Gaara's not going to engage him close. Gaara will know better than to do that. He's going to stand far away and send the sand at Neji, and Neji's going to have to move around and dodge it. Gaara's not stupid. He's not about to get close.
I don't know, man.
If Gaara gets too close, he could lose the fight. So Gaara's going to keep his distance. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think Gaara is more of a long range fighter than a close range. So it's just not going to get close in general.
The Sand Tsunami at some point overwhelm Neji to the point where he has to constantly use rotation.
Has Neji been seen using shadow clones, Cedric?
Do I see Neji use shadow clones?
No, has he done that in the show before?
I don't believe so.
Not in part 1, I don't think.
Yeah,
he's done it in part 2.
Because I don't think Gaara can differentiate shadow clones, and I've seen the man get used by those.
Another thing Cedric brought up with that Gaara Sand Tsunami is that terrain, that location is perfect for Gaara. Because if you remember, Gaara can manipulate the minerals in the earth with his sand to get more sand. So it's like, can Neji... That's the thing. It's close range versus long range. So can Neji avoid all that? Because the prairie location is good for him. He can just manipulate the earth right there.
Oh, that's a good point about Gaara being able to manipulate the minerals around him too. And so, Justin, you also brought up if there's no Shikaku, you would pick Neji, right?
I would, yes.
Is that what everyone else? If there's no Shikaku, if we take that out, does your guys' picks change?
For me, no, because it's still that sand manipulation is just way too good.
But Byron, if he gets one hit and seals Gaara's chakra, he's done. There's no reserve.
But isn't that the sand in his little thing? Like, isn't that his mother's protection though?
Shoot, we didn't even know about his mother. Did we not know about it until part 2, though?
I mean,
we didn't know about that until the 4th Ninja War.
Okay.
Yeah. When he was fighting his papa.
Mm-hmm.
His woozy papa.
But still, even not knowing that, it's still his mother's protection, even in part 1. So, like, can Neji get past his mother's protection? It's like, that's what I'm struggling with.
Nikki, does it change for you if there's no Shikaku?
Yes, because then you don't have to worry about that chakra or him taking over, like how Naruto got access to Kuruma's chakra in their fight. So yeah, I think Neji does it because Gaara's taijutsu is horrendous. I have the data book stats. His taijutsu is absolutely horrendous.
I'm looking them up right now too.
It's a 2.
Yeah.
It's a 2 compared to 4.5 by Neji. So if it comes down to a hands contest, it's not up for debate. Neji's winning.
Nikki, you brought up the fight with Naruto. Naruto got access to that 9-tail chakra, and Neji was still going toe to toe with him.
That is true. Because he got cocky at the end.
Yep, because he didn't look for the damn shadow.
That's why he went down. Selfish.
Remember, he was going at it with I don't even know what level you call that. Just red Naruto because he didn't even have like the red eyes. He just had the red Nine Tails chakra. And Neji was still going at it by himself. I remember that.
I forgot about that.
Neji got
like when I was rewatching some of Neji's fights, like I wanted to like pick Gaara like going into this, like, oh, I was thinking that he was going to dominate. And then like when I was rewatching Neji, like that Kidomaru fight, he learned so much from Naruto. Like he just knows, he knows about his blind spot weakness. And that whole fight, Kidomaru, that's a long range fire. Like he's shooting the web at him, and he just does so well. And then Neji said in that fight that he was the strongest person that he faced up to that point. So he was stronger than Naruto at that point. So I'm just thinking from a growth perspective that he can take Gaara if he was able to beat Kidomaru, who was stronger than Naruto at that point too.
Justin, I'm gonna bring that. Yeah, I was just about to bring it up too from a wrestling stand, throwing in some wrestling in there. With that Kidomaru, curse mark level 2, how would he fare against the Gaara then? Because if you're saying that Kidomaru could hang with that Gaara, Neji, wrestling wise, we're doing wrestling things, Neji beat that Kidomaru. I'm agreeing with you guys. I think Gaara would win, but man, I really think Neji could have a shot.
Yeah, I think so too. Like rewatching the fights and everything, like Neji can close distance so fast. He's so fast, the gentle fist. Gaara's not going to know about the 128 grams palm because he debuts it against Kidomaru. So Gaara's not going to know about that. He only knows he can do 64. He doesn't know about the 128. That's why I said Neji's going to have Gaara on his heels, but with the tailed beast, it just puts him over the edge. But no tailed beast, I'm going with Neji 100%.
Okay, so when we say tail beast, we're talking about him going big, right? We're not talking about just like
him going big.
Okay, because I was gonna bring up the point, if we're not talking about that, just going back to the Valley of the End of Naruto and Sasuke, curse mark level 2 was comparable to a one-tail Naruto. It was like a Orochimaru's type thing to give people those type of things. So like Kidomaru wasn't just like curse mark with the like black things on his face. He was full level 2 going against dude, and Neji didn't know what that thing was. And Neji won. I mean, he almost took a lot, but he won though. So he's fought people comparable to that type of power at that point in part 1.
Well, Gaara has 2. He honestly should have died, but it was bullshit. Because when he fights Kimimaro, and Kimimaro goes into a curse mark 2, the only reason he doesn't kill Gaara and Lee right there is because he dies of that illness with that bone literally inches from Gaara's face. So it's like, that's the thing. And I'm pretty sure Kidomaru was the toughest one, or one of the toughest ones, along with Hyūga in the Sound 4. So like, that's very comparable for Neji versus Gaara right there.
Me and Cedric talked about this because we were talking about, he was rewatching some stuff too. When the sound came, Neji was one of the few people who did not get back up.
Yeah.
He beat this person on his own. And like, I remember Cedric, we talked about that, last week, right? Yeah, how Gaara had to go to Lee, story purposes. We all know that. Mari had to go to Shikamaru. We know that. Chakra going to that was a little strange, but it's the only one left.
Well, I mean, because what's it called? Choji already took out the first one, Jirobo.
And my dude almost died doing that too.
Yeah.
Like, how much is that, Byron? Did you remember that Neji was one of the only people who took out a Sound Ninja 4 alone?
I mean, that actually does play a factor now that you mention that. I still think Gaara has an edge.
No, I'm more, man, as like Justin said too, like Neji could control this fight, man. Like he really can.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, when I was going through rewatching the stuff, I wanted to pick Gaara, but watching Neji, I was like, Neji's a genius. He has those eyes. He gonna make this shit something. Like he's going to give Gaara literally everything he handled. Gaara has the troubles with the speed competitors that he goes against in the show. Like It's almost a bad matchup for Gaara, but he's cheating. He has a Jinkiri, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking, like, when I was looking at it from obviously a Naruto standpoint and even like a sports standpoint, Neji's best win is against a level 2 Kidomaru. Gaara's best win is it against Lee? Is that his best win? Because we're not counting Kidomaru, right? Because Nikki already said that he died of illness.
Yeah, I didn't count it. I didn't count him being Kidomaru either because he died, like Nikki said, right before.
Yeah.
He could get his
So
last in.
So Spirit of March Madness.
His best win is Lee, technically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Lee, who Lee was stating, Gaara, Sasuke, and Naruto weren't even his goal. His goal was to beat Neji.
I mean, they said Neji was the strongest Genin.
Oh, he was. That wasn't even. Yes.
Yes, from the leaf.
Y'all saw what Rock Lee did to Sasuke. Oh, God. With eyes.
I mean, opening up the gates was for Neji, was to overwhelm Neji. Like, that was the whole reason why that technique was created. That's the reason why guys taught him that.
Crazy to think about,
too. He was supposed to save that for Neji.
The 8 gates move was for Lee to overwhelm Neji, to compete with Neji, to beat him potentially. So if you're learning 8 gates to beat that guy, that has to show how strong that guy is. Not guy as in guy, but you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the reason I did pick these two is because these were two of some of the strongest outside of Naruto and Sasuke at the end. These are two super strong young ninja who never really interacted, never crossed paths. And this is what the What If battles are about, because they both have great abilities and some flaws. And if they threw them in, like, what would happen? And just like we're discussing it, and like Byron didn't even, he's like, oh yeah, he did beat a level 2 curse mark person. I'm gonna have to think a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's a close fight. It's definitely a close fight.
Yeah, that 60-minute time limit is. If the time limit was shorter, would that help or hurt Neji?
Yeah.
So if it was 30 minutes, what would you guys think on that?
I think Neji can beat them.
30 minutes?
30 minutes, go from there. I think Neji would be more motivated, and Gaara would have to be more motivated to be more on the offensive. He can't just stay back and be defensive. I think that pushes Gaara to possibly make a mistake. I mean, we keep mentioning Neji's a genius. Don't forget, Gaara becomes a Kage. Like, Gaara is no chump in the intellect as far as figuring out how to win a battle. Like, I think Neji has seen more of Gaara's technique than Gaara has seen of Neji's technique, and I think there's a more of an understanding as far as Gaara's limited ability with the sand. But I mean, it all depends on how close Neji can get. Like, Neji's fast. I don't think he's Rock Lee fast, but Neji's fast. All his attacks are taijutsu,
which is weird because they said that he has those abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean,
like, I'm on his site right now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you see Shippuden does an air palm. Yeah. I would say that's more ninjutsu than taijutsu.
I mean, he can expel chakra from his body, though, and like the show said that
we know that move in Strikers.
Yeah, and they said like only most ninja can either do it from their hands or their feet, and he can do it throughout his whole body. So I think that will count as ninjutsu. Yeah,
because on the Naruto, which, man, this is the site, the Naruto wiki, they have him as they got earth, fire, and water. I'm like, bro, if you got all these, where have these been?
For Neji?
Yeah, bro, go to Neji right now.
I'm gonna just open up my browser. Hold up.
Because I didn't real quick.
I'm looking at his ninjutsu. I was just thinking of what he actually does.
Yeah, just scroll down on Neji and go to nature type. But Cedric brought up a point too. That was the thing I forgot to say why I picked these two. Because these two had the biggest like rank leap. Like Gaara went from Genin Kazekage, and Neji went, as Justin would say, he went to Hatake. He went from Genin to Jonin.
The only one.
Like they had obviously Kazekage. I mean, but Sand Village, I don't know. But that's a huge leap from Genin to that and getting your people to trust you. But
yeah,
in the leap, going from Genin to Jonin, not that many people do that now. Because everyone else went to Chunin. They're like, nah, Neji, you're going to Joni. Like, he could have had his own team if he didn't want to be with Guy and them anymore.
The clout you get from being a second stage curse mark member.
Justin says, man, eyes, brains.
It's a cheat codes of the show. I mean, Sasuke, when he beat Danzo in part 2, like, him being a Uchiha obviously helped, but he beat him because he was smarter than Danzo. That's the main reason why he beat him. Figured it out with Zanji, and it was a wrap.
Remember that line he said at the end? This is a battle of eyes. Don't mess with the Uchiha.
That was real.
Nikki, did you pull it up? Did you see what I was talking about?
Yes, I see it. I've never seen any of that, bro.
No, me either. But yeah, I agree with all y'all. I think Gaara does take it, but man, Neji he's gonna put that pressure. He ain't going down without a fight, and Gaara gotta be careful because if he slips up, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Now Justin has me looking at Gaara's stats from part. Oh Jesus!
Yeah, Gaara's not much higher than Neji. He's only one thing higher than Neji in their stats at the end of part 1, technically.
Man, but they said Gaara's strength a 1. Sweet.
And then it's 2.
He doesn't do it physically himself.
Like I'm even looking at the picture where Naruto's charging with all that Nine Tails chakra, and Neji is just doing a rotation. You are doing a rotation against Beast's chakra. But yeah, I think Gaara takes it. But man, this would be a fight. This would be a fight I would love to see from a tactical analysis of both parties. And if we're doing story, I mean, if Gaara's like, no, I would rather lose than use the one Tails power. We know that anime character nonsense.
Right.
Gaara is not that guy. Like Gaara doesn't get like emotionally charged to win a fight. Like Gaara.
Hey, say that again, Nikki.
If anything, he might just go back to the old Gaara. If he's getting his ass whooped by Neji.
That means he's getting his ass whooped and he's going back to the old Max. That means he's getting, as Justin said, he's getting smoked.
Yeah, just doing the research for this whole what if battle just made me appreciate Neji so much more. Like he is that guy. Like he is hard. Like he is what you gonna call it? I mean, Lee went 5 gates to go try to beat Gaara and didn't do it. And like Biggie said, all of Lee was basically trying to beat Neji. And
credit to Cedric, he said it first.
Yeah, and Neji's better than Lee. So I think if Gaara didn't have a tail beast, I think Neji takes it. And then 1 minute long has time to figure an hour-long fight has time to figure him out too. It's just Gaara has a tail beast, which is why I ended up picking him. But if he didn't have it, I would pick Neji with this one almost going away.
I just knew Neji was the real deal after Lee smoked Naruto and Sasuke. And he said, "There's someone strong." I was like, "Who is stronger than these two?" And I was like, "Huh. Well, this guy's kind of dangerous." Sasuke, I don't need you fighting Neji. We don't need you getting embarrassed out here in these streets.
And Sasuke would have lost
Sasuke
that fight in part
smoked.
1. It would have been ugly.
He would have got
Ugly.
smoked.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because I love Neji in part 1, and everyone's like, I'm Sasuke fan. Sasuke is the best. I'm like, man, if he fights Neji, man, it did not work real quick.
No.
Sasuke did not become a bullshit character until he fought Itachi. Yeah, he was not.
Part 2.
He was not beating Neji in part 1.
No, I was gonna say until he fought Data. Until Datara, because he was supposed to die against Datara. When he went,
that was bullshit. That was crazy.
Manda,
I was like, oh
that's
shit, that's Manda. What the fuck?
This man, first of all, no one, think about it. No one has ever transferred to the other universe to escape a blow, like of your summoning. No one does that. Only Sasuke could. And he laid Manda. Manda died. Manda's like, man, curse this son of a bitch. He was like, damn you. That was ridiculous. When I saw that, I knew. I was like, man, this man may never die. Like, he'll never die. It doesn't matter when he fights.
Like, yeah, just
because Aldo was Manda's son.
Bro, that was wow. Cedric, I'll say it your thing though. Like, part 1, Sasuke was the absolute highest when he came back in the black, like wrapped up Chidori, and and I liked that one a lot, but I knew if he fought Neji, as Justin said, he would have lost badly.
It would have been ugly.
Yeah. I mean, he lost to Rock Lee.
No gates.
Byron, man, it wasn't a full.
Sasuke had to copy Rock Lee to land blows on Gaara, if we're being real.
But that's the thing, though. Like, he had to copy Rock. He copied Rock Lee, so that's another thing that he has, I guess, for him. But I don't think he'll beat Neji. Like, I wanted that fight for ages because once I saw Neji learn the rotation, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. I don't care who we. And then
I think if Neji fought anyone else in the tuning exam, he would have advanced to if it didn't get stopped, he would have advanced to the final 2 fight Naruto. That should have been the final.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think Sasuke was beating Neji there. I don't even know if Sasuke was beating Naruto at that point.
Not at that point in the show. And you remember, Sasuke couldn't control his curse mark at that point too. That's why he had to stop the fight against Gaara in the first place when they got back to the woods because the curse mark was acting up. So yeah, Neji would took him out too, and Naruto would took him out Chunin exam era.
And my man had baby Chidori.
When they fought at the end, there was one guy that was knocked out and one guy that was not knocked out.
Man, yeah.
Because if we're talking about his ability to control the curse mark, Naruto couldn't control the 9 tails either. So if to the point before that happens, I still think Sasuke is stronger than Naruto because if they both lost control, someone's stopping that fight. Like, there's no way they're letting those two rampage in curse mark mode and 9 tails chakra mode out here blowing up the whole village.
I would also say too, because when Naruto beat Gaara, that was the start of Sasuke's jealousy towards him. Because he's like, hold on, with my baby Chidori, I wasn't doing nothing. This dude comes, one of Justin's top 5 episodes, and I know by heart, Naruto Ninja Handbook, starts summoning all these clones, Uzumaki barraging, and Sasuke sitting back like,
huh?
Then he summons the toad, and Sasuke's still sitting back like, and then he headbutts him, and then Naruto, after they're on the ground, Naruto is still crawling to go give Gaara the work. And Sasuke's like, okay, that's enough. And here come the siblings like, yeah, we lost. We gotta go.
I mean, Sasuke trying to push Chidori number 3, breaking his shit.
He didn't have to stand. Oh my gosh, man! Like that, yeah. Neji was out there, man. Like he's top. So I agree with y'all. Gaara would take it. I think it's a lot closer than some people on Twitter were trying to say, which that was ridiculous. They were trying to say Gaara. They were trying to say Gaara no diff. Justin, did you see that nonsense?
No, I didn't see it. If I did see that shit, I probably would have said something.
They tried to say since Rock Lee's stronger than Neji and
he's
lost
not.
to Gaara, so
What?
He's not. What do you mean?
Bro, people have been coming at our Twitter for these past. We bring up Naruto and people want to come at us.
And
It was just one person. That
Nah,
came
the
at
one
us.
about the Neji thing that was before this guy though, because I was really confused. Like, bro, first of all, as Cedric has eloquently stated, Rock Lee had to learn a forbidden jutsu to compete with Neji. How is he stronger? Whatever. But nah.
Facts.
This would be a good one. I think we're all going Gaara on this. If Shikaku was out and the time limit was half,
It might be
it
Neji.
will be
Might be
Neji, Brian. It will
Yeah, I'd go Neji. I'd go Neji.
Yeah.
And Neji's character design was hard too.
Yeah.
His character, that's why I fucked with him originally, because his character design was the hardest. The headband with the
bandage
I don't even know
arm,
what the
bandage
long
leg.
strap.
We out here.
His character design was tough.
It's like the
But yeah, that's the first Naruto What If battle. How are you guys feeling after that? That was a lot of fun.
It was
That
fun.
was a whole lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Justin, Cedric.
What's the next one? Just go on here and spit it out. On to the next. Come on.
Yeah, I need that too. I'm waiting for that.
All right. Well, Justin, I'm gonna give you the choice of the.
Okay.
I already have the matchup. I already have the matchup, but I'll give you the choice, Justin.
All right.
It's either a free for all battle royale, everyone's in there fighting, who comes out last, or it's in tournament mode, and I've already random generated the tournament, and they gave the people random seeding. So since you were the first, you get the pick. Which type?
I'll do tournament style for this one. I think that'll be easier to grasp because the battle royale shit could get too crazy.
Thank you, God.
I think
Are
it'll
you
be
sure?
easier to analyze a tournament.
Do you want me to tell you who it is, the thing, and then you decide?
Actually, yeah. Tell me who it's going to be, and then we'll decide. I'll decide if I want to do battle royale or tournament style.
Okay. So, a couple weeks ago, Justin said we are becoming the Women's Advocate podcast because we have a whole bunch of women. So, next month is International Women's Day and Women's History Month. So, we are doing these 6 women at the end of the pain arc: Hinata, Sakura, Tamari, Ino, Karen, and Tenten. So, it'd be those 6 in a free for all or those 6 in a tournament. Hinata, Sakura, Tamari, Ino, Tenten, and Karen. Yeah, Carrie. Yeah,
Karen.
Not Conan. Not Conan.
No, Carrie.
No. No, we picked.
I picked the
I was
like Karen. There ain't no one named Karen. That's an American name.
Afaka.
Oh, Karen.
Yep, those 6.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here thinking, like, who? I didn't think to say Karen. Oh man.
My apologies, but those would be the 6.
Gotcha.
So, Justin, if you want, you free for all or tournament, and the tournament's already been randomly generated.
We'll do tournament. I like tournament style.
Is everyone all right with that?
Yeah, because free for all, you know they all go to J, whoever they from the league. They gonna kill whoever first.
Because this was random. 10-10, and I always say her name wrong. Fake Sakura got the buys.
Oh, Karen.
I call it
Fake Sakura.
So, but to go against, so it'd be Hinata. Well, this is wild. It'd be Hinata versus Sakura.
Ooh.
And the winner goes to fight 10-10, and Tamari versus Ino, and the winner goes to fight Fake Sakura. That's the tournament that was auto-generated. And I will send you guys all because I have saved it last night.
Okay.
Justin, how you feeling about that? That's going to be wild now.
Let's do it. I think I can pick a winner out that tournament. Once I see the bracket, I'm gonna have a winner for you guys.
All right, let's
hard lean to Tamari right now.
I'm going March Madness.
And Nikki, thank you. In the spirit of March Madness, that's that because March Madness is next month. So bracket. Good call, producer. So let's get a date ready for the fans. Are we trying to come back on the 21st? That's the third Sunday of March.
Let's not do a live. Let's not do a live date. Let's just shoot for towards the end of March. No live date.
That is the end of March. Well, if you say a date now, because I know how you are, you need to get gotta get those dates in.
As long as it's not the first week of March, I'm cool.
Oh no, it'll be the end. End.
Yeah, I'll be fine for a Sunday.
Okay. That's 3 weeks. Since we're all adults now, we have to plan in advance. All right. Well,
yeah.
Y'all heard what we're doing for the next What If battle. In the spirit of March Madness and Women's History Month, we are doing a tournament of these lovely ladies, and I think it's Sakura versus Hinata. First match. Sweet Jesus. And this is at the end of the pain arc. So when Naruto comes back and they're celebrating, which Nikki, I want to get your opinion on this before we close.
Yes.
I've started to believe that Naruto should have ended at pain because there's no better picture to end a series with Naruto up in the air smiling. And then they could have done like movies and stuff with the war. That's what Cedric's brought up. Like I've really started to lean that way because that ending was perfect.
Yeah, that ending was tough. But the Fourth Great Ninja War was also tough.
You can make that into a movie. Or OVAs. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually a great point. I don't know now. That's a very good point if you just ended it right there.
Because that smile at the end, man. And when you start watching that end with Aruka thinking about Naruto, you start tearing up.
I'd assume they do other stuff before that, if anything.
Martin, you just want the end. You just want the show to end at the pain arc, so we don't have to go to the cage summit and watch your boy Sasuke get destroyed for the next 50 episodes straight. That's why you said that.
First of all, it's because of the end. Oh, hold on.
Got beat up by
time out. I didn't see the Killer Bee button. The Killer Bee has to be placed in that pain realm. So that's so.
We don't need that. Oh, the next one. Okay, we're good.
Okay, we're closing up.
I was saying, if we're going to end the show, if we're going to end the show early, let's end it after the cage summit, after Sasuke goes crazy, and then let's do movies about it afterwards. I think that was the perfect ending.
Bro, nobody wants to end with that Sasuke face when he stabbed girl in Danzo. That's terrible.
Oh, I thought it was perfect, and then then it's the perfect cliffhanger. We're all just wondering what the hell's going to happen. And then
even after this man is declared,
perfect. I love it.
Hell no.
The downfall of Sasuke.
Declared war, and you want to turn off the show.
And do it right there. Oh, beautiful.
Whatever.
Then it wouldn't be Naruto at that point. It would be Sasuke.
Nah, dude.
We are not giving this man a title ever. Like, he ain't getting the anime title. The closest he's ever come is being on the cover of Naruto Bonds with his pictures there.
But all right, let's go. Nikki, it's your first one on here, man. So I'll let you get the first closing remarks.
Hey, I mean, I appreciate y'all having me on here, and I can't wait to do more of these. And everybody's gonna love this podcast, honestly, and all the ones to follow.
Hey, Cedric. Nice, simple, to the point.
This is fun.
Byron.
Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I definitely am looking forward to watching more Naruto to figure out who I'm going to pick in this all women's tournament.
Justin.
Yeah, I just love this podcast idea. It literally gives me an excuse to watch old Naruto, so I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. Breaks up the One Piece, Attack on Titan, Black Clover, Jutsu Kaisen loop I've been in, so I like it.
Fair enough, and you already know
Kaisen, that's my
best ones. Jutsu Kaisen.
I'm
Check it out,
y'all. I'm about to start watching.
I need to start watching that too. Don't want to get off. And you already know I've already made the thumbnail for the girl tournament, so that will go out once this episode goes out. You know, I did not put soccer in the middle because, you know,
why would you?
If you know, you know.
But hey, thank you everyone for listening to L7C podcast. This was a lot of fun. Finally happy we got to start this with a good what if battle of Neji and Gaara part 1 and having the women's tournament next month. And happy everyone was able to be on. Keep listening. You guys are showing us love. We just passed 800 total listens and we're on the road to 1K, and we still haven't even been alive podcast wise for a full year. We started last August, so it's been great getting the love from you guys and that. And also, since it happened, we'll shout him out. Shout out to Mitchell Also, birth of his first child with his wife Kayla. So congratulations to them. We actually recorded together the day before the birth, so we were talking about it happened. So there it was. But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. These Naruto What If battles are going to be so much fun, and get ready for the next one next month. I got to try and be objective because my personal feelings are going to come in, especially with a particular one. Thank you all for listening. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.